But now moving on to probably my favorite draft would be the AFC team that picked next, 13th overall, the Los Angeles Chargers. Um, they're up there. They
Yeah.
probably had one of
Well,
my favorite drafts.
first of
I,
all, when you get put in a situation where you can draft a guy like Rashawn Slater at 13,
mhm.
that's there started to become some debates towards the end if he was as good as Penei Sewell. I mean, so
Yeah.
when you can get a top 10 talent at 13, that's already fantastic. But when it fills your biggest need, like without getting anything else, if they just drafted offensive linemen in this draft, that would have been a success for them because that was
Yeah.
clearly like their biggest need, and they filled it with one of the best players in the draft. And he was a guy that dominated Defensive
Yeah.
Rookie of the Year last year in Chase Young when they played in college. He's a swing tackle, so he can play both sides. He has good versatility. He's good in both the run and pass game. Uh,
Uh-huh.
I mean, just a fantastic overall first pick. And then Asante Samuel Jr. and
Yeah.
Josh Palmer I think are really good picks as well. Josh Palmer was a wide receiver that suffered from poor quarterback play. He has good burst. He has good route running and agility. And then Asante Samuel Jr. to me kind
Yeah.
of reminds me of this. Who's the safety from Minnesota that went to Tampa Bay last year? Antoine Winfield Jr. So they both had dads that played in the
Yep.
NFL. They kind
Hmm.
of grew up in that system, and they both play with this, I guess, poise and veteran like ability just because I think they've grown up around it. And I think Asante Samuel
Hmm.
Jr. will have a very similar rookie year to Antoine Winfield Jr. So it,
Yeah. Yeah.
I was gonna say I
And
was like so for me I was like
oh,
just those three picks alone are fantastic.
mhm. Well, and they addressed a lot of their main needs as well. So, and getting their future left
Hmm.
tackle to help protect your franchise quarterback in Justin Herbert, solidifying the defensive backs. Because as you mentioned already, with the Denver Broncos going up against
Yeah,
Kansas City twice a year to try and win that division, you're going to want all the defensive help that you can. They get in a solid receiver like Josh Palmer, and let's not forget Trey McKitty as well, who did also suffer a little bit from not he didn't not poor
yeah.
quarterback play, but
Well,
not
I
elite
want to say he had
quarterback
four
play.
different
I think there's
quarterbacks
a
last
lot of
year, and so when you have
potential.
four different quarterbacks in one season, that's not a good thing.
Yeah, there was a rotation at UGA, which did make it tough, and even the quarterbacks. I think blanking on the guy that
Oh,
they
JT
ended up with. He's
Daniels.
like number 19 or number 18
Yeah,
or something. Yeah, yeah. And I thought there was another guy
yeah,
too. Yeah, but that's what it was.
yeah, yeah,
Like the fact that there were so many different quarterbacks as well. Hard to get into rhythm and not the top tier talent that he's going to be getting
yeah,
at Justin Herbert, getting with Justin Herbert. So I think he's going to provide a whole new depth. I think to that offense as well, which already has a pretty star-studded
yeah.
receiving core as well. Justin Herbert had to, because I think he threw for in 15 games threw for
Oh, I think he threw over four
uh,
thousand yards and 30 touchdowns.
almost, yeah.
I mean, he was
He
so he
he
was the
was in the
offensive rookie of the
top.
year.
He was sixth. He he's offensive rookie of the year with 15 games, and he threw for
Yeah,
4,336 yards. I mean,
yeah.
that's more than Aaron Rodgers did
No,
last
and
year.
he,
So there's a lot of potential, I think, with this offense, and I think it's only going to be more solidified because their weakest link was their offensive
mhm.
line, and the fact that
It-
they got Rashawn Slater and didn't have to lose any,
they
didn't
even
have to trade
got
up
another
for him
guy,
or get anything for
Brendan
him.
James from Nebraska, another tackle. Uh, I
Mhm.
mean, for me, even getting two guys to help solidify that is big. They could have technically done more, but they did have other needs, like for example, corner, and then running back. They got Larry Roundtree out of Missouri. I want to say he's a little bit more of a physical back, but
Yeah.
honestly, that kind of pairs well with Austin Eckler, uh, who's more of like a third
Hmm.
down. He plays every down, but he's like more of like a pass catching back. Uh, but I
Yeah.
think they did fantastic. I'm gonna give them an A, uh,
Hmm. I
like maybe an A plus. I don't like they picked the best
yeah.
player at like
What
especially across their first three or four picks. I think they picked the best player that was available. So
I think so as well. And then even the players that they picked fit specific
yeah, yeah.
needs. I think they can come into their offense. Yeah, and also, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Josh Palmer, he's a much bigger type receiver. I feel like they don't
Keenan
have that.
Allen's a bigger
I
guy,
feel like
and
they didn't have that last year.
I want to say they still have
They
Mike
have speedy
Williams.
guys and good route runner
Uh,
guys, but they didn't have.
but yeah, Josh Palmer is
Okay.
kind of like he's a bigger speed guy. Um, but he's fairly well rounded.
Hmm.
Yeah, I so he is a bigger question mark, but when you watch him on tape, he has good feet. He seems to have good hands when the ball was able to get to him. It's just a lot of his tape was kind of plagued by
It was a good
poor
pass
quarterback
from.
play. Like and so like I remember there was
Yeah.
one play on his tape that he's running a route on the outside and he gets separation from the guy, but then the quarterback throws it so that he has to like completely stop. And if he hadn't had to stop, it would have been
Mhm.
like an easy touchdown. But he had to stop and he had to
Yeah.
like make the
Yeah.
catch and then he got tackled. Uh, but I mean he has some pretty interesting tape. It's just he is a little bit of a question mark, but I think it could pay off and they're in a situation with their offense and the weapons that they have that he could one even sit and develop or two kind of play a little bit of like a wide receiver 3-4
Yeah.
role and then get catches where he fits in and then develop that
Yeah.
way. But I
Yeah.
mean I like it.
I agree as well.
I want to say was
Mhm.
Amari Rogers gone at that point? Like Amari Rogers, no, he wasn't. But Amari Rogers was a guy that I really liked in the like especially take in the third round. That would have been a guy that I would have loved for them to take, but who knows? Again, like I said, Josh Palmer's tape is a question mark. So so
Yeah. Yeah. No, I
mhm,
think the Chargers are on the up and up. They especially down the stretch, they definitely seem to
mhm.
had to get some things together and had some really
So
good
yeah.
wins. Uh, I feel like so.